Thank you, everyone. Welcome to Books with Al-Gazali. With me, Abdulhamid Al-Ghazali and Lukman Buba Umdagas. We've been looking at Segun Adeniyi's Power, Politics, and Death. We'll continue with some of the chapters we haven't been able to look at previously. So today we'll be looking at the Petroleum Industry Bill, which has recently been passed and signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. And then, if time permits, of course, the Niger Delta Amnesty under President Umaru Yaradua, as captured in this book by Mr. Segun Adeniyi. So, last week, of course, just in case you are watching this for the first time, last week we were able to look at the chapter on
rules of law
on corruption and the James Ibori saga. The previous week, of course, we looked at the rule of law and then rule of man. So today we will be proceeding. We are looking at the third chapter today, which is the oily affairs, which is to mean the processes that were taken by the Yaradua administration to reform the oil and gas sector of the Nigerian state. This is a long process. It started way back since the regime of Olusegun Obasanjo in 2000, and then there's been back and forth, this, that, a lot of interests here and there, people saying this, that, a lot of things. And thankfully last year President Buhari assented to the bill after quite a lot of do you call it foot dragging?
Yes.
So now we have it, and thank God we have an opportunity to look at it again.
Yes.
So from this work, let us start by what you think of this whole process, because sometimes it's important to start from the point of view of basic understanding.
Yes.
Before we get into the complexities. What do you get from shown as per Yaradua's commitment to getting these reforms executed? What do you get? So what do you get from reading the chapter? Let us establish a foundation. So before we go into the specific key issues, how do you help us explain the commitment of President Yaradua in getting this reform pushed as per Segun's account? What do you get out of?
As you rightly stated, the oil reform started during the time of Olusegun Obasanjo. It was during Yaradua's regime that he set the ball rolling. He took it more serious than his predecessor. And as we have seen in our previous sessions, Yaradua came with very strong convictions about what he wants to do during his time as the president of Nigeria. And he took upon himself the oil reform, even though there were a lot of interest, a lot of backdragging, a lot of challenges he has faced. But then he pushed hard to make the oil reform workable. And among the things he did, he brought in the leadership or the people that have been participating in the oil reform from his predecessor's time, like
real industry people.
Yes. He has the conviction and the leadership, but then these are things that need expertise from the people that really know what is happening there. So
Yaradua too has a bachelor's degree in chemistry.
Yes,
I
exactly.
think that gives him some understanding.
Yes,
of,
exactly. To understand some technicalities of the
Yes.
Petroleum Industry Bill
Yes.
and other oil reform sectors. But notwithstanding,
Yes.
there are people that is their work.
Yes.
Like the government establishment of NNPC.
Yes.
And then, of course, he has assistants, or
Yes.
say advisors.
Yes.
Like he brought
Yes.
in Dr. Rilwanu Lukman,
Yes.
who was the petroleum advisor of his predecessor,
Yes.
to take on the work.
Yes.
And he set up committees,
Yes.
2 committees basically. The first, which he headed, and the second, he gave other people that are very good in that.
Yes.
And like when we see from the chapters, like the international corporations like
Yes.
Shell
Yes.
have
Yes.
very strong holding in Nigeria.
Yes.
It's like they even bypass bureaucracies.
Yes.
A lot of things that they are supposed to pass through the NNPC, they have
Yes.
direct access to the presidency,
Yes.
which he tries to stop that.
Yes.
And he tried to bring competition between international oil corporations.
Yes.
Like he tried to bring competition in Chinese
Yes.
oil
Yes.
sector, as
Yes.
well as
Gazprom.
Gazprom,
Yes.
as well as Russian.
Yes, that's Gazprom.
Yes, that's Gazprom as well.
Yes. Yes.
But then he tried as much as he can, but then things didn't go well as he wanted to. And he took keen interest in the Chinese proposals.
Yes.
Because they wanted to like partly fund infrastructure.
Yeah.
Which
Every
is
government.
Yes, of course. This is one of the principles, and that lured him. That took his interest.
Yes.
But then things didn't go as well as he planned.
Okay, let me ask you again, as if this is a Q&A session, but what does it tell you about the way in which government operates? People think like a president can sit down in his office, and then give instructions and then get whatever he wants done, to the extent that the masses will always think that, okay, why shouldn't this president do that? People think that the president is all too powerful.
Yes.
So how does that matter?
People just think like that being president is just very easy. Like, since you have all assistants and advisors and ministers, all the president does is for him to sign.
Yes.
I think it's just an easy job.
Yes.
But then being a president, just from the account of Adeni here, you see that being a president is a very, very difficult job that no one should even seek to be a president.
Like one thing I once read in a newspaper, in which someone was surprised that a particular presidential flag bearer was really smiling after he was declared winner of a primary election, and the person was saying that what is in this man's mind?
What is he thinking?
Yeah, because
is he thinking that he's going into luxury?
Yes. I always think that those of us outside government, have an entirely simplistic view of how it operates.
Exactly.
And things that seem very easy may probably end up consuming the whole of the administration's energy and time, because there are laws, there are bureaucracies, there are human beings, there are individuals, there are interests, there are past commitments, there are politics, a lot of things come into play.
And all these things, people do not see it.
They do not.
They only see what it is being portrayed to them on the media.
And even more so, not that what interests them, their own understanding.
Exactly.
And
if a resolution doesn't suit their interest, the president doesn't even know what he's doing.
Yes, but then again, do you think there is poor public education of the runnings and operations of government? Do you think that some of the things, now one of the key things in this administration, one of the recurring issues you hear is, why does the president not regularly communicate his policies? What are his spokespeople doing? People will pick out particularly the national security advisor and pick him out always to criticize him for being quiet. My thought is that a good national security advisor should not be seen talking,
Yes,
because that
is not his job.
because the way in which media works is that today you will come and say something, people will jot it down. Tomorrow you say something, they jot it down. Next tomorrow, then they will put the puzzle together and then create a narrative that, okay, the government is buying XYZ, and people will create a narrative. The media has a way of creating a narrative,
Yes,
by bringing into by bringing different accounts you may
Yes.
have said at different occasions and different times,
Yes.
to create a particular narrative.
yes, and that narrative can suit the interest of
yes,
people. And
yes,
for you
yes.
to clear your name from the public will take you donkey years.
Yes, yes, and that is beside whether what that whether that matter, whether that thing said is true or not.
Of course. Yes.
The narrative of course, it may be true.
Yes.
Because sometimes the business of national security is not something you take to the public, for
Yes.
instance, and sometimes it's not even an issue of national security. But then even these oil reforms, how do you explain to average people? Sometimes it's better the government doesn't
Give any account.
any explanation to these things, because many people, you will see a lot of things. I am a layman. I do not have any knowledge of the oil and gas sector, other than the things I read from the pages of newspapers, internet, and so on. There are real industry people. So sometimes I feel I have a lot of reservations talking about these issues. But the way in which some people, ganged up against it, or the way in which some people are supporting it, you will wonder whether they have the full understanding of the benefits and the demerits and other things of. So sometimes too much of talking only helps to create more confusion.
Yes. And
then
more especially for Nigerians, the more you talk, the more they will keep asking questions.
Absolutely.
And just as you rightly said, people in the government, like the National Security Advisor, he's not a public relation officer.
Yes.
He's not a media assistant.
Yes.
He has his primary job to do,
Yes.
which is not to be discussing with the public.
Yes.
There are
Yes.
people that are assigned to do that.
Yes.
And if we take another example like late Abakari,
Yes.
as the chief of staff of
Yes.
the late president,
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
people have been saying a lot of things
Yes.
about him,
Yes.
good and bad, whatever. But he was the chief of staff to the president. He has no business with the public.
Yes. Yes.
Some people have never even heard his voice.
Yes.
You only see him in picture.
Yes.
Whatever you say about him, he doesn't care.
Yes.
He only does his work.
Yes.
So for Nigerians, I think,
Yes.
to my own understanding,
Yes.
there are things that they should know. But some other things, just as you rightly said, like that, like the Petroleum Industry Bill, for you to explain this to layman, it will take a lot of effort. And the more you explain, maybe that is not the narrative those people want.
Yeah, explanation comes when there is even the need to know.
Yes, exactly.
And for instance, many people don't even understand the current setup of the oil sector, for instance.
Yes.
So, of what use is your explanation for the new changes?
There'll be no need.
Yeah, so
They don't even know anything that is happening.
yes.
All they know is the pump price.
Yes. So what is important from looking at this chapter is how the processes of government take place. They may seem simple, they may appear seamless, they may appear straightforward,
To an
but
outsider.
a whole regime can end in trying to get a whole tenure can
Yes.
go down
Yes.
without fixing any of the most basic things to the average man.
Yes.
It's just like the price of food.
Yes.
People don't see the dynamics. We'll keep on saying that why shouldn't the president just give an instruction that food prices should go down? Or why shouldn't
pump price should just
go down?
Yes.
People
yes.
don't see the dynamics.
Yes. Because people don't even understand how those
Absolutely,
things work.
absolutely.
And when you look at things like this, maybe the Petroleum Industry Bill, you can also attach this to people being lazy to even know.
Yes.
Because if you really want to understand all these things,
Yes.
apart from reading from pages of newspaper,
Yes.
there are probably maybe websites of these federal ministries that they contain all this information about all these things, or maybe from the Senate or the Ministry of Petroleum Resources and other things like that.
You see, the sad truth is that public intellectualism is dying.
Yes.
And we have democratized access to public speaking tools. You can talk on issues even if you don't have knowledge, because the platforms don't charge you. Yes. You don't require any certification to be allowed to go to Facebook.
Yes.
And now there is a blog. If Facebook doesn't, if you think Facebook is for average people, you open a blog, and then you so as much as this is good, but it has its own disadvantages. The quality of public intellectualism has gone down.
Yes.
And people have the discussion has been taken over by emotions.
Yes.
Empty emotions.
Yes.
No conviction.
Yes.
And it is almost always determined by your current state of mind.
Yes.
If you're angry in the morning, tendency is that anything said, you will have your opinion that is averse to it.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning, the same person, it makes me wonder, especially during the primary. See, this person,
what is
this guy, you are talking about PDP election. Are you a PDP?
Problem?
Tomorrow, one will be talking about NNPP, and then the next tomorrow you are worried about Tinubu or Siba.
People attach emotions to everything.
Emotion is driving these things, because something we do not pay attention to is happening in the society. The replacement of public intellectualism with what? With public activism.
Yes.
In the past, you cannot separate activism from intellectual. It's always intellectual activism.
Yes.
But now you have activism without ideology.
Yes.
The things for which now, for instance, look at this subject of women. People in societies like Borno are still campaigning about giving women opportunities in politics and
leadership.
Isn't this funny? These were people who came from a culture that has women as the most powerful state officials.
Yes.
But people are not interested in this info. People don't know. So someone will be arguing with you when you tell him that, see, the problem of women, opportunities for women is not the problem of this society. It is a problem of your own ignorance.
Yes.
But someone will say, no, men are like that. This is, you keep on saying. Now there is a red herring with which these issues are discussed. They will always say that this is what men will always say.
Yes.
Probably this is the first time that person is having any conversation with a man on that subject. But they will say, men. So there is a ready-made red herring to be applied to this argument. So public intellectualism is dying.
Yes.
We now have activism taking place, empty activism driven largely by emotions, and then they are replacing intellectuals. Intellectuals don't want to talk.
Yes, they don't want to talk.
Because sometimes they wonder, is there anyone ready to even accept this truth? So they only stay back and watch from the sidelines. These were people who are supposed to take center stage. We have a lot of national questions,
that should be answered by
they should be raised by intellectuals and answered by, but people raise the wrong questions, and then worse, answer them wrongly.
Yes.
So public intellectuals then just go back and then stay at home, and then now half-baked people get into because even in the academic the academics has now become much more about the procedure rather than the quality. So if you can, get to publish peer-reviewed papers,
Yes.
even if jointly with your friends,
Yes.
probably your only contribution is to provide your vehicle to go and do the field work, and then you get
or just provide the funding
or
for
the funding,
publication.
and then at the end of the day you
You'll be cited.
you will be cited, and then you
Do
pay
that.
to be cited,
Yes.
and then get your students to cite you,
Yes.
and then at the end of the day you meet the criteria
Yes, you
to
count
be.
that as you have the
So
required
so
publish.
so someone who is just no, is someone who has no business with intellectualism will tomorrow become a professor, and then the quality of professorship is going. And now the country doesn't see value in professors, doesn't see value in the many PhDs we have, and they don't care whether it strikes continues, because as far as they are concerned, the quality needed to move the country forward is not there.
no longer
But
there.
then sometimes, thanks to the government did a lot to kill the public intellectualism, because they are always put on the defensive.
Yes.
The days in which government policies are taken to a lot of intellectual discussions, a lot of fora, weekly, monthly, in the universities, on within civil society groups.
Yes.
They take policies made by governments and dissect them.
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, the government will begin to wonder, do we even truly conceive this thing? Do we think this through before starting it? Sometimes a very strong government policy will be torn into pieces.
Yes.
And then, so government also help to, now if you are that talkative public intellectual, then they will give you appointments so that you can become a minister,
become
and then
pro-government, and then
and then you are gone.
Yes.
So these things are sometimes the reason why your suggestion that yes, or your thought that these things are now much more available on the internet. We are in times when people don't feel the need to get this information, because for all they care, what is the use of understanding the PIB?
Yes. What is the direct benefit to it, to the average Nigerian?
Yeah, and what we are saying is this: people have limited ambitions.
Yes.
A university graduate wants to just have a stall in the school commercial area, so that is his only ambition, and he thinks that with that alone he can feed himself, probably take a wife, and then take a child, send him to public school, or not even at all, and then that's all. So we have a limited ambition, and that ambition even prevents you from paying attention to your studies, because at the end of the day you probably just want to meet up with the
minimum requirement
for graduation, and then that graduation too is because your family, all your siblings have had a university education, or your friends, or in the neighborhood, or your parents insisted you are doing it for your parents.
Yes.
No ambition.
Yes.
If you have that big ambition, okay, I want to go into that oil and gas sector, that big ambition to achieve great successes, change the world.
Yes.
Because knowledge is supposed to help you make the world better. Make yourself better, make your immediate environment better, your society, your people, your family better. But then it's like we are hitting a record time historical stagnation. It's like we are not even ready to take the world to the next stage from where we inherited it. The people who help us do this is actually not in the university as you find in the past.
Yes.
Now, in the industries, if you follow the annual World Economic Forum in Davos, you would see how the world is being changed by the industries rather than ideas, because ideas are no longer, people who should propagate new ideas are now much interested in, just to meet the requirements. We are not challenging this idea.
Yes.
And then everyone growing up thinks everything in a book is correct, is okay. Everything on the internet is correct, is okay. Even people who are truly educated. So I think the interest in knowing these things comes from your own ambition, what you want to do, because you cannot conquer without knowledge, and every information will help you achieve success much in a much easier way. Yes. So this is the only thing for me that I think will make people want to know these things. Yes. Without this interest, how would average Nigerians who you now see on social media looking for what topic to debate about, yes, whether they understand or not, we're looking for which Nollywood actor is dressing much more elegantly, or which Hausa film actor is married to who and who divorced who, and these are the kind of discussions. Yes. So the quality is going down. And
okay, if I may ask, as yes, we know that the youth today are the leaders of tomorrow, and it's very obvious to us now that the youth now have completely lost focus.
Look, man, this thing you are saying is just a biological reality. It is nothing. What you are saying is just a meaningless cliché. It's a biological reality. The fact that then added, garnished with some political garnishing to make it look like it is one kind of an out of the wall idea. It's yes, nothing. Biologically, you will grow, you will become old. Yes. Whether you take responsibility or not, you have this condition makes it necessary for you. At least even in your household, you will
take over the
leadership, because you end up even if you are useless at home, you will be responsible for yourself. Yes. That's a biological reality. Yes. To now say that youths makes people lazy. Yes. You don't just become a leader by just knowing that okay, I leaders.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not is a biological
dispensation, yes,
and physiological process. Yes. As time goes on, you will grow, you will become older, and then older people will die or become weak, and then you take over from them. Yes. Whatever you make out of that it depends on who you are. Yes. So let us stop misleading people with yes, quotes, yes, quotations that are technically meaningless.
Yes. So what I want to ask is, youths now, as you rightly said, have completely lost focus.
Yeah.
And they
some
lack
youths.
Some youths, yes. And they lack like serious ambition. Yeah. And it is due to that lack of ambition that they engage in this meaningless and empty activism. Yeah. And the only ambition they have, some of them, maybe who they try to emulate, are the rich politicians, because of the kind of clothes they wear, the kind of cars they ride. What do you think make the youth of today, of the Nigeria now, to have lack of focus?
So many things. First is that, okay, this activism you're talking about, it is being monetized, don't forget.
Yes.
That's the problem. Now there is funding for social influencers.
Yes.
So it is becoming much more lucrative than so now. So if you have, so people now are looking out for people who have large followers.
Audience. Yes.
Yeah, in social media. If you have 400,000, 1 million followers, yes, they don't care whether you have any quality. Yes. Even people on social media no longer now care whether you know what you are doing, as long as you have
followership. Yes.
And now the process of building such a large audience is so much crooked that you, as a responsible person, hardly will want to. Now a few of the social influencers I know who are truly who are truly deserving of whatever respect people give them are those who got those followers way back.
Yes.
When these platforms were Senna.
Yes.
Not today.
Yes.
Today, now try discussing your PhD on your Facebook. Nobody will even care. So people will think that this Lukman is just wasting our time. Long text.
Yes.
So you, and ordinarily you are adding value to knowledge.
Yes.
You are supposed to be a target of every student, every youth, to learn from what you know.
Yes.
But then people are not looking. If you take this path, you will never get that.
Exactly.
So now, how would you be snapping photos and then flowers popping up in your face, and then you ask yourself a question, and then you answer yourself with a different voice, and then you upload it 30 seconds, and then tomorrow you'll get into Kekena Pep, and then record yourself taking a ride with a caption taking a ride. So how would a serious intellectual who truly knows what he's doing do all these things?
Yes.
You don't. Yes. So it is monetized, and then no matter how I have great respect for Dr. Yunusa Yao. There was a time we had an event in Kano in 2019, the Social Influencers Summit. I was there, and when the flyers were sent to one of the coordinating groups, I took the flyer and then I thought that one word was missing: media, social media influencers. And then I said, there is a mistake in this flyer, please fix it. And then he said, no, it is correct. Social influencers. He
meant it the way it was.
Yes, he said that social influencers are people who influence the course of the society, and the choice of speakers in that event truly represent the ideal social influencers, because there were all sort of highly credible, respected social influencers, some of the best in the country. So his conception of that social media influencership, which is now a career,
yes,
was one that is impactful, that is truly knowledge driven,
yes,
that has ideas to change the society. But today this system is monetized. There are grants, there are advertisers coming,
yes,
even on the platforms there are ads. So the more then there is also another currency which we seek so aggressively: fame. All these things are out there. Now you get a little crumbs from promoting this product, then you can go to the supermarket to buy a suit, blazers, and then go to one big restaurant in the town and then snap a photo of yourself and then promote it. And,
yes,
so that monetization. But then I'm not saying that this is wrong. It is the reality of our times.
yes,
it's the reality of our times. So maybe a better question is, how do we provide a counter platform or alternative narrative for people who are truly in need of real ideas,
yes,
real engagement? So, which is why no matter what reactions you get for your posts or for your public postulations and presentations, it's better you still do it than to say that no, this
Just
place
because
is
that's
taken over by
social
the
media.
social. The problem we always have when journalists have a meeting, they will say that no, you know, these social media guys are killing this profession. I said, do you have a Facebook account? No, I don't. What will I do with that godforsaken platform? Said then you are leaving it for
the people
you are allowing quackery to
Yes.
take over. So go in and then provide alternative explanation to the quackery they splash around and so on. But then people say, no, me, you know, what will I do with that platform? Don't even put my photo. These photos were taken. I don't want to see myself on Facebook. So, but then this is the reality of our time. Yes, the social media is all too powerful. Is the way in which it is running. The speed is so fast that before serious people will catch up with it, it will be really difficult. And then the platforms are now making it difficult for serious ideas, to be very honest,
Yes.
to sell. You have to tweak so many things before you get the attention you want, as if they are naturally by themselves preventing people from getting access to these ideas. I don't know. They only show your post to, like, you know, 20 or 30 or 40 people you frequently interact with, people you comment with, and so on. And then if you have 5,000 friends, then time will come when sometimes you will only be seeing posts from 20, 30 of your
Yes.
friends. You'll wonder where are the remaining 4,900 and so on and so on.
Yes.
So that is that. But about focus, focus is you lose focus because of many things. Look, man, as a child, when you're growing up, you need someone who will be guiding you.
Yes.
Because once you lose focus is like, you know, a silk gown. Once it is lost, before you can retrieve it again, you keep losing it again at different folds. So there are transition points,
Yes.
especially from your childhood to adulthood. Even at that childhood, there are a lot of transitions you are going through. So if someone who has much more experience than you is not guiding you, chances are that you might lose one focus, and then that is the end. But on your way and focus, if you lose it, you have to go back
Yes.
to that point and then start again.
all over again.
You cannot just hack your way.
Yes.
So therefore, mentorship is dying. Role models are changing to some role models have now phased out. Those days people want to become Bala Usman, Professor Kari, and so on and so on. Today people want to be with all due respect, I don't have problem with musicians. I have problem with, let's say, artists. The character they play out as artists, not their real life.
Yes.
That's the problem we have. People think that if you play a bad role in a movie, then it means you're a bad person. So they are good people, but then sometimes we have people who don't see that. They are just interested in the character they are playing, so that those earrings, you know,
try to emulate that
yes,
character.
yes, bare-chested young boy,
Yes.
you know, because he had seen that in the TV.
Yes.
So, but role models like that will only help you lose your own focus, because before you understand that they are doing this for money, it is already late.
Yes.
So now you just think that if you dress like them, you are like them.
Yes.
and that you are supposed to live their lives.
Yes.
Probably everything worn in their everything they wear are being paid for. Probably they didn't buy it. Maybe they are promoting a brand.
Yes.
You don't know. You just go and buy one. You go to may I catch you? Ben and Pick,
Yes.
yeah, and then go and buy a cloth. Go to the tailor, cut the hands, and then remove the buttons, and then you wear it. Get earrings from your sisters and so on. These are so these are the kind of things. But then focus is something that once you make the mistake of losing it, look man, it is gone. It's just like decision. If you lose focus, that's why if you are thinking about something, you want to decide about something. For me, and I realize that the pressure is too much, I think about so many things, I will suspend the decision I want to take. Sometimes I delay my decisions. I have this problem. I know people think it's indecision. No, I don't want to make a mistake.
Yes.
Because if I lose focus and make mistake, the way to fix it will be very costly. But you don't just wait. What I do is that, okay, I will take a decision that puts everyone in suspense. I will delay the proceeding. Like I will give an instruction for something that okay, nobody understands the instruction because if you want to execute it, you have to come back to me to seek further. By that time, probably, yeah. So yeah, but indecision is that you don't know what to do. You don't have anything in your mind. You want to just put all the information together.
Yes.
So one information is missing, and you want to get it before you decide. And people are pressurizing. Just what I do, probably our staff might be listening to this, but what I do is to just give an information that at the end of the day, a very vague one, at the end of the day, nobody understands it, and I have to be back to the office before we continue.
Yes. And before that time,
I've made up my, or they have helped to bring that missing.
Yes.
Yes. So things like that.
So largely we lack mentorship.
We lack mentorship. And then while we lack mentorship, then we allowed the classrooms to die. We delegitimize teaching, the teacher.
Yes.
First by throwing up useless people into the profession.
Yes.
And then second by underpaying. Yes. Third, making the competition to become a teacher open for everyone. And then fourth, by being democratic about the process. There are things that democracy cannot really help us with. To say that everyone should apply. People will bring their certificates. They have first class. They have all the grades. But we don't, by that alone, they are of course qualified to get a teaching job. But at the end of the day, they don't have the qualities, natural qualities to be teachers. So but why don't we have a system that, is internal, that the school starts examining their next set of teachers right from the very first day of admission.
Yes.
And make tests. And the test is geared toward sieving out potential. At the end of the day, you just employ them automatic. Sometimes we have a very powerful local traditional system in the Sangaya system.
Yes,
it's a very powerful. You don't have when the system is self-sustaining. If they realize a student from the beginning, they will pay attention to him so that he gets all the basic requirements. And even before he graduates, once he is first met to help his other struggling colleagues.
Yes.
Once he goes to the next level, he is assigned those behind him.
Yes.
And then it goes on and on.
Without him even knowing or even deciding. Automatically become the teacher.
Yeah. So, but now the classroom is dead. But then we still think that there is hope in the classroom.
And it has even become worse than you were saying. Like previously, maybe in the universities, people that have graduated with first class were
Yes.
having automatic
Yes.
employment.
Yes.
But then now, teaching has even become the last resort,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
and probably for the highest bidder.
Yeah, that's true. As a university lecturer, still always carrying his CV in his bag, waiting for the next advert.
Yes.
Because he knows that he's just this is just a holding room for him.
Exactly. Just there for the paycheck, not
Yes.
to teach, without even
Yes.
having the passion
Yes,
to teach.
yes. Otherwise, the classroom is a very important ground for mentorship.
Yes.
It even helps you. It's not. Mentorship has a lot of layers. Look, man, it's not just the process. You need to come from a certain background to even understand who becomes your mentor. Someone has to help you to even understand.
Yes.
So the classroom helps you even understand who you need as a mentor, because one will have different mentors. In business, XYZ is your mentor. In academics, XYZ is your mentor. In your faith, XYZ is your mentor. In parenting, XYZ is your mentor. In these things. But in the classroom, you are studying history. You don't even understand how the philosophy of history. You don't understand the tools historians use. You are just in the department waiting to cram and then pass exams. And so how would you even be able to, how can you determine your own mentor? You are not qualified to get a mentor for
yourself. Yes.
So
And this, we shouldn't forget basic school teachers, like the primary and secondary school.
Absolutely.
And that has become even worse than university lecturers.
Yes. Like private schools, the road is even more in private schools. Because you are passing by, you can just go into the school and say that, please, is there any vacancy for me? And then they will say, okay, we have social studies.
Can you teach
social studies? This guy studied physics. He will start teaching social studies. And then how would you allow these key, very important subjects to someone who is not from the profession? So things like that.
And most of doesn't even understand the philosophy of teaching and the psychology of the children.
Yes. So these are the things. And then, look, man, whether we like it or not, knowledge is terbiya.
Yes.
Knowledge is 50-50 with terbiya. The fact that we have accepted immoral people into the classrooms because they have knowledge tells you that there is a break in the way people are taught at some point, because a teacher should be a moral compass for students. But you find out that a student is going to the same club with his teacher. So morality is out.
Morality.
If you are competent, that's okay. And people will tell you that, see, merit, as if morality is not an important aspect of merit. So people who ordinarily are not morally, mentally qualified, socially qualified to get to the classrooms have degrees. They can therefore be allowed to go into the classroom. And these people are not, they are even supposed to be, students are even supposed to be protected from this kind of so a lot of things, man.
I think the mention of the terbiya you made, if you look in Arabic context, education itself is called terbiya. I don't know, but I think it's basically due to the weight morality has on education.
Yes. And you cannot give what you don't have. You can't say that we'll teach them and you are.
And anytime morality is devoid of education, then there's a lot of problem.
Yeah. So let's get back to PIB and some basic things we know about the PIB.
Petroleum Industry Bill.
Yeah, why it is important is perhaps the fact that something being pushed forward for 20 years really there has to be something about it that is important. The former GMD of NNPC, Ibe Kachuku, said that the country is losing about 3 trillion naira because it did not carry out the reforms needed to make the sector more efficient. 3 trillion. This is a country that is highly dependent on oil, and then 80 to 90% of our revenue comes from that. It will interest you that if you know this person to be highly successful in the banking sector or in agriculture, he is probably also having a lot of investment in the oil and gas sector. Probably that is his business's mainstay, So most of the things in the country depend on that. We depend on it also for our energy, for our electricity, quite a lot of things. So the sector needs to be reformed. And what are these reforms? Just as a matter of general overview, we need to really fix the leakages of funds, and then the looseness which empowers certain players to play above the board. To take advantage of the country, to take advantage of government policies to their advantage. There are a lot of malpractices that really undermines the sector. Now, a very fundamental aspect of this is payment of taxes due to the government when it is due. How do you address the environmental challenges coming from this, coming out of this? What commitments are these oil companies making to address environmental problems that are killing our people, killing our environment, causing a lot of social and economic crisis and so on. So how do we get the sector to be able to address all these things? Now we have the issue of the operations of the NNPC. NNPC itself needs to be reorganized. It has to be run truly as a business, but sometimes that is not even the solution. But then again, sometimes you just have to move. You just have to move. You cannot be doing one thing again and again. NNPC is continuously rationalizing its failures. Like, okay, the Nigerian state, how many refineries do we really keep going? Even those we have are now closed down because of poor maintenance, a very bad maintenance culture. Then the social problems, which at some point gave us the Niger Delta militants, who many believe have justifiable cause to be violent. The sector needs reform, and we woke up to this reality, it seems, since 2000. But to accept the way in which these reforms, or how the reforms will look, is stalled by a lot of factors. Thankfully, at the end of the day, this is coming to life. But then quite a lot needs to be improved because of new circumstances.
Yes.
So, but a very important aspect of the Petroleum Industry Bill is of course the issue of tax. Now we can be able to obtain company income tax. We can obtain hydrocarbon tax,
Yes.
which the government can use to address a lot of environmental issues. Then regulatory bodies, a lot of regulatory bodies. Now the government is addressing that by, under that law, only 2 regulatory bodies, the upstream and the midstream and the downstream sectors. And then I would wish we take these things one by one, but then I would want us to get some of this out, because probably the people watching us may need it.
Yes.
And so on. And if they do not, if for instance they know better, they help us with more explanation. But a very important aspect of this is the Host Community Development Fund, which has a very very important effect on the society. It means that all companies will have to now set up a fund, a community development fund, which addresses the problem of these communities. A board of trustee will be set up by every of these companies, registered by with the Corporate Affairs Commission, and then this board will be empowered to set up a management team with representatives from all the oil producing communities.
Yes.
Non-executive members,
Yes.
who would do a needs assessment within given time frames of the needs of these communities, and then the funds will be, so these companies will be contributing certain percentages to the fund.
Yes.
And when the needs assessment is submitted to the BOT approves it, and then channels the funds coming in. At least 75% of those funds will go into capital projects.
Yes, for the host communities.
Then 5 for, I think, administration, then 20 as a reserve fund for the fund. And then a very important aspect is that the point I'm driving at is when the oil companies suffer any damage on their oil assets, the communities are by this law mandated to forfeit certain aspect of this fund. The cost of that damage will be deducted by the companies.
Yes.
So that will enhance the security of our oil assets. It will address the subject of vandalism, vandalization of pipelines, bunkering, yes, and other things. So I think this, and then there is also another very important thing, the gas flaring prohibition section, which insists that the subject of gas flaring is addressed by these companies right at the point of licensing. So a lot of things, I think, then the NNPC will now become a limited liability company registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, and then run as a business. So a lot of things. The advantage, the importance of this review is that when we take the chapters, they help us
understand
discuss
better.
a lot of things about our ourselves, our society.
Yes.
So like we've always said, when this discussion starts, before you know it is 2 minutes to go. So I don't know if you have any last words, but then if not, then we call it.
I think we take over with the PIB in our next session.
Okay, then because there is a lot really to say about the PIB.
And also that's going to be ascertained into law. Maybe
no, it will be by July 19. That transition will have been complete. The NNPC transition to limited will have been complete by July 19. So
I think our audience need to know exactly what is happening with the PIB.
Yes.
So that when they're reading newspaper headlines, they understand actually the provisions of the PIB.
Yes. So thank you everyone for being part of our talk today. Myself and Lukman are very, very much grateful for your time. Please be with us in our subsequent editions. I keep promising you, of course, that we have a lot in the kitty. We have a lot of books to really review, and we are doing everything possible to bring them to you as soon as possible. So please keep a date with us, and have a good day.